I'm going to do a short little informational video on highlining an animal, such as a small mini or a goat or other small farm animal. This is just an informational video. It's not really a how-to video. It's just to give you the idea of something you might consider. If you decide to use this information, please go out and get someone who knows what they're doing to help you figure out the safest way to put one up. The run line is up overhead. It needs to be high enough up over the animal's head that there's no chance of it rearing up and getting its legs caught up over the line or its neck caught up over the line, because you wouldn't want them to be able to do that. And notice the flexibility in that line. It's not taut. The far end of this line has a spring action on it, similar to what you'd see on a screen door, but heftier than that. You can get them at a home improvement store, and the reason for putting one of them on a line like this is to add a little give to the line. If an animal pulls tightly on a tight line, they're more likely to be able to break it. Where if it's got some give to it, like kind of that bungee action to the spring load, they bounce back when they pull on it rather than coming out to a firm end of their lead line and being able to more likely snap something. And here's a close-up of the line. It's a covered cable. Notice that the run line is flexible. It's not tied really taut. That's so that the animal can't get a firm pull on it and snap either its lead line or this line. And notice it's a thick cable. There's give to it. It's not tight up there. The line that I'm going to show you here is usually used for this goat. She usually has 24/7 run of the place. But there are times when I want to hook her up, like if she gets into my garden and I have to fix the fence, or the vet's coming and we need to know where she is to get her shots, or if I'm trimming her feet, I'll put her on the line, because then I can take a rest for a minute before doing the next foot and know that she's not going to take off on me, because she really doesn't like having her feet done. So we call it the timeout line. It's Piglet's timeout line. But we have the donkey on it. We have the little mini donkey on it today because I'm working on his safe boxes and he can't be in them while I'm working on them. So he's up here getting outside and getting a little exercise and sunlight and so forth, rather than having to stay in his stall while I'm working on them. This is only a very temporary situation. He won't be out here on a regular basis. I would only use this type of temporary harnessing in a very temporary situation. If you're going to have an animal that's going to be on the line quite a bit, or more than like a couple times in a couple of days, then I would go out and try and find a harness big enough for them, or have one made. This is what you're seeing on this donkey. There's a loop here that goes around the neck, and there's a knot tied here, and this loop cannot be tightened or loosened. You want to make sure it's not like a noose where this loop for the neck is going to tighten or loosen. That needs to stay stationary. Then you have these two pieces that come down from that, and this goes over the head. These two go between the two front legs, and then one goes up around the back one way, the other goes up around the back the other way, and then this clips on the line here, and you'll see this on him. The reason why this knot is here is because if you clip this on this side, it can't go past that knot. So that means that this can tighten a little bit on the donkey as he moves, and it can loosen a little bit, but it can never loosen past that knot. And the reason why I like that tightening action is not because, like what you see on choke collars and chain collars on dogs that tighten around the neck. This is tightening around the back. And the reason why I like it to tighten and loosen as the animal moves is because if you allow it to get too loose, and it flops down under their belly, and they start kicking at flies or whatnot, they can actually get a hoof stuck in there. So if it tightens with their movement, they're less likely to have that room to get the foot stuck in there. And the same is true with the knot. You don't want it to loosen so much that can happen also. And if you're just showing an animal how to use this, you would use this loop that's in this knot and clip it to that first to teach them before having it so it tightens and loosens. You don't want it to, first time putting it on them and have them feel it tighten up and loosen up and be like, oh my god, what's that? So have a little loop in it and hook it in there. This is just a temporary setup. He's not intended to be out on this line every day for the rest of his life. See how on this side of the knot it can get tighter? Not by much, but it can get tighter, or it can loosen. And it can't loosen any farther than that knot. And this is what I was saying about down underneath. If it's allowed to get too loose, they can get a back foot caught in there if they start scratching at something. So you don't want it to get too loose, so that knot right there keeps it from getting looser. If you were going to put an animal out on a line like this, you would want to have a harness like our goat has. This line is usually used for the goat. When the goat is allowed to be out 24/7 running around the farm wherever she wants to go, but occasionally it's nice to put her on the line if she's getting into mischief that she's not supposed to be in, or you want to know where she is because the vet's coming to give her shots or whatnot, so we put her on the line. And in that case we use a very large dog harness. In an emergency situation, to catch a loose animal without having a halter with you, like say if your neighbor's animal gets loose, their goat or their mini or something gets loose, you can just grab a lead rope if that's all you have and make a loop and put both ends between the front legs and bring one side up over the back one way, bring the other up over the back the other way, and you can just hold them at that point if the animal's behaving enough and lead them back, or you can tie a little knot, or if your clasp is big enough you can clip it onto the lead rope. If you're just holding it and you have room, tying a knot in the end of the lead rope and holding the clasp, and before that knot will allow you to have a better grip if the animal's pulling a little bit on you. Around the neck, between the legs, one way, one the other way. And this is where you can either hold it, clip it. She's probably not going to give anybody a hard time, so you can just walk her. Come on, baby. Come on. This way. Good girl. Putting a goat or a mini on a run line is similar to tying a horse to a tree. You want to make sure that the line that's coming down doesn't drape down low enough that the animal can get their foot over it and get caught on it. You want the line coming down from the run line short enough that they can't step over it and get their legs caught in it, but long enough that they can lay down directly under that line. When you're deciding where you want to put the high line, make sure it's in a place that you're not going to have a bigger animal that's going to come charging through there if it gets loose and run its neck into it, or a person's not going to walk through or ride a vehicle through or a tractor or something and get caught up on it. You got to keep those things in mind also. You want to make sure that at each end you have something really sturdy and really big. I emphasize the big because say this tree right here that the run line runs from, the animal can't, with the short lead line that it has, go around that and get hooked up on it. If you were to attach the run line to, say, even a hefty post that would hold it, the animal could still go around the post and get wrapped around it, where they can't get wrapped around this tree. You could attach it to a building also and get the same effect. You want to make sure that there's nothing close to the line that they're going to get tangled in. And I don't like to leave any animal outside unattended with a halter on, because you never know how they can get themselves caught up on a halter. So if you put them out on this line and you're going to leave them there, hook them up with the harness and take their halter off if they have one on. Now I tell you never to leave a horse unattended with a halter on, because see this handle on this gate? It's very easy for them to get their halter stuck on something like that and injure themselves. And you may think that you've gotten rid of everything in your paddock area, or the area that they're being tied out on the line with, taken care of so that this won't happen, but you can't think ahead enough to get every situation. Say if a piece of fencing breaks, or something breaks on the barn, or the horse has a itch that it's looking to itch, and that's how my horse learned that if he hooked his breakaway halter onto this, he could snap the halter and have it off, and he could take his fly mask off the same way. And the way he originally found that out was that he got his breakaway halter stuck on this handle. So you want to try and eliminate all these things that they could get caught on, but never think that you have them all gone. So I would recommend that you don't leave a horse unattended with a halter on. Fortunately for my horse, he had a breakaway halter on, and I was in there with him when it happened. It's a really tragic experience to have a horse have a halter on and get it caught on something and have it twist around, flip around, and break its neck. You don't want to leave a horse tied for that same reason. If you're going to go do something, even if you're just running in real quick and coming back out, something could spook the horse, something could happen, and it could flip around, fall down, and snap its neck. This is an informational video, it's not a how-to video. It would be very dangerous of you to just take the information that I give you here and go out for the first time and put up a line by yourself. I suggest that if you decide to use this with a mini or a little goat or some other small farm animal, that you go and find someone who has actually used these, that can come over to your place and can look at the animal and tell you, is the animal too big maybe, or too feisty, or whatever to put on the line. And then if you decide together that it's okay, they can show you exactly how to put it up. Don't just take this video and then go out and do it on your own, because there are many safety issues with putting an animal on a run line, and I would really hate to see your animal get hurt. But take the information that I give you here and decide whether you want to look into it further, and if you decide that it's something you might want to do, go get someone to help you do it.